started. All right, so that's going. Cool, we'll give 1 or 2 minutes for others to join. How's everyone doing?
Everything's good.
Good, cool.
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Hi,
David.
Hey, David. Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, Takuya. Hey.
Oh, Takuya's on too. Cool. So I think we might just be missing Robert, and then James declined the call. So I guess we're a minute after, so I guess without further delay, we'll just get things started. Hopefully, yeah, you guys got the link to the presentation that I put together a couple of days ago. So quick recap of agenda. We'll talk about new team members, and we have a new core team member that just joined starting this month. Recap on the hackathon, and the third topic is something that George and I talked about. I realized like some of the core team members attend like at different conferences or industry events, and we thought it might be good to sort of list what those events are to give us an opportunity to meet like a face-to-face opportunistically. So quick conversation there, and then I think Takuya, you suggested maybe possibly fixing the meeting time going forward rather than having to do polls over and over again. I'm definitely open to that, but we might have complications in case we have other attendees in North America, but we can talk about that really quick. And then a couple of other topics like the MVP voting, and then I think Remy, you brought up, good point about how do we do a better job of recognizing people that are actively helping in proofreading and translations. So anything else that people think we should talk about this month, or if you think of it later, we can talk about it towards the end, but let me know if you think I'm missing anything. But I guess that means no. So we'll just move forward. So quick welcome to George. I think George, I think this might be first time people are seeing your face online, but welcome to the core team. And just a couple of quick stats I put together on George. I think you first started contributing. I was looking at the dashboard. You started contributing in December. You definitely have like more than 10 commits per month, which is pretty impressive. And you kept going, and also including during the hackathon. I think you were the first hackathon winner with 7 merge MRs. I mean, I think you edged out Jacopo. Like, I mean, he had like 4 or 5. I can't remember. So and that's on top of like few others that you're still working on that you started during the hackathon. So thank you for that. So welcome. I mean, George, if you want to say quick hi or quick words, I mean, feel free to.
Yes, sure. I'm George. I live here in Greece, so I'm really glad to be here today with you and see you in person. So thanks again for everyone for inviting me over to the core team. It's good to be here.
Cool.
Excellent. Welcome, George. Yeah. Really glad to have you.
Welcome, George.
Cool. Yeah, and then I mean, the other thing I was gonna, it's somewhat of a joke. Like I think you made a comment about the activities of like a proofreaders and translators. You found some of the documents that I've been looking for the past few months. So, and I've been working at GitLab for almost like 4 months now. But so that's anyhow. Cool. And then I think, Hannes, you opened the issue or brought up a topic of Ben Bowden-Miller. I mean, for those of you who are at the summit, Ben led a couple of like sessions. He's in translation, Hannes, that you helped lead, and a few others. And the last time I checked, I mean, we didn't even advertise the video recordings from these sessions. Like something like a GDK session had like way north of like 100 views. I mean, that's without even us like promoting it. So it was very, I mean, provide us with good materials that we can use. So we're pretty happy with it. And I mean, David, I'm not sure if you want to add anything there in terms of what we accomplish and what we learn. But
yeah, I mean, again, just to echo the big thanks to everyone that that helped. I mean, this was not just core team members, but like merge research coaches, and it was great to see everyone on Gitter helping out other people trying to send their merge proposals. In terms of suggestions, one thing that I should probably mention, and I'll just paste it on the chat. We created a retrospective for the event. So if any of you participated and you have any suggestions on how we could improve the next one, just feel free to add a couple of comments there, and then we'll make sure that we make it happen.
yeah,
essentially.
Let me just quickly.
Oh yeah, thanks, Ray.
Yeah,
cool.
no worries. Let me just jump to the page. Yeah, I think like all of these were entered by either me or David, but other suggestions that you have would be very helpful. And then I started a list of like future topics as an example that I thought would be interesting. Like, I mean, typically a lot of these like a hackathon type of events, there's like a discussion on the community. I mean, I haven't figured out exactly what aspects of the community we want to talk about, but we can address that topic. Issue triage is something, I mean, through Issue Bash and other venues is something that we welcome like contribution from the community as well. So that's something that we could talk about. And Meltano is another one. There are other topics that we can probably cover. If you have other topics that you want to suggest, I mean, feel free to, I mean, hit me on Slack or add it to the list here. It'll certainly be good to repeat like the 4 to 5 different like tutorial sessions that we had last time. So any suggestions would be welcome. But, cool. And then yeah, with that, I think we covered like most of the other bullets here. Yeah, I want to repeat the thanks. I mean, Hannes, I mean, for leading the translation session, and I mean Jacopo and George for all your MRs. And then you know, the merge request coaches being on sort of on being available and helping people out on Gitter. That was that worked out really well over the period of 2 days. And the next, I guess the other thing that I want to mention, I think I mentioned it in the recap blog, like we want to make this a quarterly event. So we did it at almost at the end of the Q3, and we want to aim more towards like a middle of the quarter. Obviously in Q4, like we don't want to do anything really close to Christmas time period, right, or towards the end of the year. So we picked like middle of November, about a month from now on November 14th and 15th. And I'll probably have a blog post going out sometime next week to make an announcement. So just heads up on the next one. Oh, cool. All right, so I mean, George, I mean, I don't think Jacopo is online, and I think Takuya, I think I saw you like on a tweet. I think you tweeted something before the hackathon, like encouraging people in Japan to participate as well. So I mean, thanks for doing that, helping with the promotion and encouraging people to participate. So.
What do you mean? Hackathon?
Yeah. So I think, yeah, before the hackathon a couple of weeks ago, I think you sent out a tweet like encouraging, I mean, I think you offered your services to people in Japan that if people need help, like you'll be available. And, and I think our social team retweeted that. So that was awesome. So.
Okay, welcome.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so this is sort of a quick conversation, and then this is something that George and I talked about because I mentioned the summit. I mean, this is where obviously all the core team members are invited to. So this is one place where we know we have face-to-face opportunities to meet each other. But I know some of you attend like other conferences. I think Takuya, you generally attend like Kubernetes conferences like KubeCon. I thought you said that you might be coming to Seattle in December for KubeCon, but let me know if I'm mistaken. And then Robert, I think I think you went to like an IEEE event about a month ago. Maybe I'm mixing that up at some different conference, but I
That's
thought,
correct, yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah, there might be an opportunity for us to like opportunistically like meet if we all somehow happen to be at the same conference. So
yeah.
Wanted to see if people will be open to just, I mean, I can create a page, like something like a wiki page on the core team and just have a list of events that we're thinking about or planning. So,
Yep.
but cool. Okay.
Actually, Ray, that's probably something that's a really good idea about the wiki, by the way. I hadn't thought of this. I mean, perhaps we want to discuss it on the end with any other business, but yeah, I think it'd be cool to have a wiki for the core team for things that need to be, or for ad hoc planning, or things that doesn't need, things that don't necessarily need to be on a handbook.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, sometimes miss using wikis. It's much quicker turnaround in terms of like editing and getting something published. So cool. Okay, I'll probably get something started and let everyone know. Cool. Okay. The next item is regarding I mean, fixed time for future meetings. I think this is the third meeting that we've had so far. We started in August, and then I think we rotated like a time slot. So I think we had this time slot in August, and then in September we did it. I mean, it was like in the afternoon my time. I mean, I forget what I think it was late in the evening in Europe and pretty early in the morning in the Far East. But I mean, if people are okay with just this time slot in general for everybody, I mean, it's late here in the Pacific time zone, but once a month I don't mind doing this. So this certainly works for me. And then actually the time slot gets for people in Europe and in North America, it'll be like an hour earlier starting next month because the summertime is over. So I mean, it gets slightly more convenient for me as well. I mean, it'll be like 11 p.m. versus midnight. But assuming there are no other participants from North America, I mean, I'm certainly open to that, but just wanted to see what people's thoughts are. Like, does this time slot like work in general, or?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Okay.
7 UTC is ideal for me and Nir, I think, because we are near together.
Right.
And Japan and Sakhalin, we now have about 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very great.
Right. Yeah, I think like everybody in Europe's all in Central European time zone, right? So
Yeah.
So it's either like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. basically. It'll be 8 a.m. starting next month. But if I mean, for people with kids, like 8 a.m. might be a difficult thing to arrange. But if that works for most people, I mean, we can just pick a day, like a second Tuesday of each month, and we'll do it at this time basically. But
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I just want to say thank you, Ray, for being flexible on this. I know that this is not the perfect time for you, so.
No. I mean, it's like I said, it's once a month, and then like last month, it was really easy for me. It was like in the middle of the afternoon. But I mean, I think it was difficult for like everybody else except me, which isn't necessarily a good thing.
Okay.
But
yeah.
So, I mean, this is what happens in open source. Like we're all spread out. So yeah, and then we can try this time slot, and then maybe we'll revisit the time slot in March when the summertime starts again, and then we might have to juggle something, and then or somebody else joins from the Americas, I guess. So cool. Okay, so that's a quick one. Didn't want to dwell on it. So the last slide, and I expect like at least one of these will have more discussions on. Just a quick reminder on release MVP voting. I mean, one of the things that I think David, you pointed out last month was that it was basically all GitLab people voting on this, and we wanted to make sure there's like a community voice by inviting core team members to participating in both nomination and voting. And then I think depending on the product manager, they use different mechanisms for voting. I think Daniel last month used Google Docs for both nomination and voting. And then James, like interestingly, I didn't even think of like you can do this in Slack, but he basically used Slack for both nomination and voting. And I think at least like 2 or 3 of you, I saw you voting on the Slack channel. So for others, if you haven't done it yet, I strongly encourage you to vote. And then we want to make sure that core team members are like involved in the process going forward. So I think that was a good. Thank you for that suggestion, David. Cool. All right, so Remy, I think this is a topic that you brought up, and then I think there are some follow-on conversations on the service desk. I mean, Remy, do you want to start this conversation on proofreaders and translators, or?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that came up from a conversation I had with my girlfriend, actually. I think she asked me, do we reward the translators and proofreaders from the community? And I didn't. I don't know actually. So maybe you know, but I don't think we do currently.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, and I know that, for instance, the French proofreader is very active. The French translation is like 100% translated, 99% approved. So he's doing an amazing job. And I think, so my first suggestion was at least we could like send them swags, at least, and then maybe build something more like a team. So Takuya suggested in his last message to maybe create a GitLab ambassador program for people not in the core team but still
right.
And George also proposed some improvements to better highlight the proofreaders and a few more.
Yeah, I think one of the ideas I really like from George, I mean, I think he had several, that one I remember is like on the contributing page, have a link to here are all the proofreaders, right? If you have questions about translating, or if you have questions about like you want to translate in like a particular language. I mean, that's like a very easy thing to do, but I think that's a really good idea. So I think Hannes just, yeah, I think that's a list that, this is a list that I think George sent out as well. And then I think, George, you even counted like how many there are, like 50 or so, maybe, or less than 50. So there aren't that many. And then, yeah, I mean, I think like recognize them with the swag. I mean, it's a really simple thing to do. I mean, I'd be happy to take care of that. And then on a sort of related front, I guess, I think David, you asked a question about how does like someone become a proofreader. And I don't think that process is like really written down in the handbook. It's, yeah, go ahead. So. Oh, sorry.
No, I didn't want to interrupt, but I mean, this came again. The context here is I saw a merge proposal from a community member who wanted to become a proofreader for the German team, and he didn't know the next steps, and we really didn't know the next steps. As in, yes, we can add you to the page, but how does it work? What's it do as a proofreader? I think the summary here is that I mean, my understanding is that there's different owners of the process essentially, but we don't really have it documented anywhere. I think it would be natural for the community relations team to take ownership of this and document the process, and then then we can have a full workflow for how we add translators, how we actually recognize their contributions, and essentially implement what we've just discussed in terms of either sending them merchandise or recognizing their contributions on a blog post. But yeah, I think the first step is to document this and to make sure that that there's an owner for this. And as I say, I think we can take the step, Ray, you and I, to
yeah.
this.
Yep. So
for some context as well, I used to manage the Ubuntu translations team a few years ago, so this is an area that very, very much interests me. And I'm still translating open source. I've actually done some translations for GitLab, but still there's quite a lot of them to review on the Catalan team. What I wanted to say with this is that I've started, I got moderator permissions at Crowdin, and I've been accepting new languages too, but still the part about becoming a proofreader is not a clear one to me, so I'll need to investigate whether this is something that the master GitLab account does or the translation teams do among themselves. I mean, essentially, I'm looking at Ray, the screen that Ray is sharing on step 3.
Yep.
I don't know what happens after that. Your request to become a proofreader will be considered, but we don't know by whom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can probably comment on that. So the third point is basically so what we do is the person create an issue in the GitLab CE project asking for proofreading rights, and then we ask someone whose native language is the same as the requester to review their translations, and then if this team member accept and approve that the person should become a proofreader, someone with rights in Crowdin, so for instance me, or I think there are also a lot of team members with the master rights, we go in Crowdin, and then you can edit a member and just give the proofreader right for a specific language, not for all language. So we could probably document that in this page.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Remy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so at the same time that was going on, I got another request for a proofreader for Korean. I mean, Koreans, like, for some reason have like a lot of people as a proofreader, which is great. And then, I speak Korean, so I looked at this person's contributions, but he's only been contributing for like a week and a half, and I said, well, thanks for. So I sort of had to make a judgment call, but. I guess we can talk more about this like offline, but I mean, conceivably, like if you have a lot of proofreaders already, they could even weigh in, right? I mean, like, what do you think? And so I think that might
definitely.
I think it's problematic with, I didn't realize for German, we didn't even have a proofreader. I thought it was like somewhat well translated, but so.
Yeah, so that means that's someone from the team that is usually approving the translations if we don't have proofreader from the community.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But I mean, we have like, several people just on the core team who speak German, like, natively. So, that particular person, I guess we can look at their contributions and make a judgment. So, cool. All right. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Remy. But yeah, simple thing. We just thanking them first of all, and then just a small token in terms of swag. That's a relatively easy thing to do. And this sort of ties in with what Takuya brought up in terms of like ambassadors. David, you could probably talk more about this. We're in the process of hiring a program manager to oversee the evangelist program. So I mean, that's something I'm guessing, David. That person is something that person could probably take on or help with. But I mean, David, I mean, I'll let you address
Cool.
that. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not much more to add. Essentially, yes, we're hiring an evangelist program manager to essentially help us grow our community in the meetups area, in getting more people to participate at events with talks, essentially helping them to do that, and also to submit content to our blog. The ambassadors program is actually something that we've been talking about on the context of meetups. We could also consider extending the program to other areas of contributions. Right now, this is in early stages, meaning that this has been just on conversations. But I'd be expecting that new person when they join to take the lead on this and to be the contact person for any of these discussions.
All right. Okay. Cool. All right. So, any other comments or questions? I don't know if people have other thoughts about. Go ahead.
I have something, but it's just for your information. I think we forgot to create an onboarding issue for George, so I'm going to create it right now, so that George has access to Slack and the GitLab projects. And
okay. Yeah. So I think George, you have the NDA taken care of, but did PeopleOps take care of your Slack access, or I can't remember?
Not yet.
Okay, that's still in progress. Okay.
Usually we create an issue in the PeopleOps employment issue tracker.
Okay. Yeah, I just pinged somebody on people on PeopleOps, and somebody picked it up. So yeah, I apologize. I guess I should have created an issue. But
no problem. I will create the issue so that it's clear, and I can already check the NDA if you want, or maybe PeopleOps will just see that it's already signed.
Yeah. So yeah, NDA is at least taken care of. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't check on that today, George. Like I knew you took care of it really quick last week, but cool.
I really want to see your picture in the core team page.
Oh yeah. So thanks for the reminder. I did send an email to George. Yes, an action item.
Will happen soon, very soon.
So cool.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can we document the MVP voting process in the handbook such that there's no confusion for the next votings? For example, you mentioned that the last one has been done in the Google Docs where we do not have access to. So Slack works, but I think we should document it and such there's no confusion on that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I think Remy and Vinny, you probably have more of a context than me or David. It's sort of been left up to the product managers, because they rotate in terms of who does a release post. But I think there is some merit to standardizing the process, because I mean, it even took me a while to figure out what the process is. But I mean, Remy, go ahead. I think I interrupted you, but
no, I think you're right. I'm not involved lately in the process, but I think it's mostly product managers that ask people. But I don't know if they use a document or not.
Right. Yeah, I think Daniel was really good about reminding people that this was going on. I mean, that's how I found out last month, and he would come to company meetings or on Slack channels. He advertised it pretty heavily. I mean, I can follow up with the product team and see if they can sort of standardize at least the tools that are used and where to look for announcements. But
yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, this is not only helpful for core team members, but I mean, GitLab members as well. I mean, we've just seen that this process is not clear to everyone. I mean, I found myself in the same situation. First time I saw the vote, I didn't really know where to go or where to vote or how to let other people know that this was going on. So we definitely need that.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, that's good feedback. So,
I've got another one.
Yep.
Well, in terms of these meetings, I think it might be useful to have a document where we keep the notes as well, so that everyone can collaborate. I mean, I was just thinking that perhaps Google Docs, but since you mentioned the wiki, Ray,
Yeah.
perhaps it's an idea to use the wiki. I don't know. For the call notes, essentially, for the agenda, and then to be able to add for everyone to add notes and actions and whatever or not. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. The only problem that could arise is that if we want to edit the same page at the same time, that could be a problem. But otherwise, why not? I mean, to keep the notes, to save the notes for posterity and for later edit it. I think that's good. But for live editing, I'm not sure.
Okay. I don't know. I wonder whether we could use Etherpad or just Google Docs essentially, or I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we can just choose one person who takes the notes, and we are fine.
Yeah, I mean, either way works. I mean, I'm just wondering. I mean, since it's more of us in that call, sometimes it's useful might be useful for that person as well to have some help, as in people adding their suggestions or notes. I'm happy with it either way.
Yeah, we can try it out. Maybe we'll like rotate who takes notes in each meeting, and then see how that works. And then.
Yeah, I mean, we could start with the Google Doc, for example, for collaborative editing, and then that the person in charge then essentially dumps the note on the wiki.
Okay, yeah, dumps a note onto wiki. Yeah, maybe that's a good approach. Yeah, I mean, I'm completely happy to get rid of the presentation slides, and we'll just start with the Google Doc, and then I mean, there's nothing graphic in the slides that I used today or any of the other meetings, right? We just have bullet points and then we just add notes. So that might just be easier. So okay, yeah, that certainly works. So.
Cool. Yeah, I mean the slides are useful for people watching on YouTube. I didn't want to mean I meant notes as complement to the slides. I'm happy with that either way as well for the slides.
Yep.
So.
Cool. Okay. All right. So anything else? Got about 7 minutes left. And thanks, Jacopo, for joining. I know you got here late, but so. Cool. If there's nothing else, we'll wrap up the call, and we'll talk again in a month, or if not sooner. So.
Thank you, everyone.
Cool.
Take care.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Good day.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.